They just want more for this disease. There is no cure, just leaves you wanting more. We had nothing when I was a kid. We had fun, that's all we did. How I missed the beautiful time. We taught the world in our own minds. But now things have changed. Some friends
Joe the Shirt is once again off the cuff. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. It's good to be back. That was today's music being brought to you by Blemish, and that was their first song, Greed. I kind of dug that one. It sounded kind of fun. I liked it. It gave me warm and fuzzy all over. As you can see, I'm finally starting to sound better. I'm still not 100%. I'm about 95%, maybe 94%, but I am getting better. Thank you for all your concerns. Not that anybody wrote. Actually, that's not true. A couple of you did write. I thank you for that very much. Today's topic is Would You Rather? This comes from a very popular party game that people used to play, especially back in the 80s and 90s, and maybe making a resurgence now. Who knows? But the question is, would you rather? Which is usually what they do is give you some ridiculous choices of what would you rather do, this or that. Okay, like one of the more one of the most ridiculous ones I remember ever hearing was, would you rather have a bee sting you inside your mouth, or get 100 mosquito bites on inside of your eyelid, or stupid shit like that, you know? But it gave me an idea of what's happening in today's stories here. Before I get into that, though, a little bit of bad news for you guys, especially those of you who live out here in West Hollywood, actually anywhere in Los Angeles. Irv's Burgers is now officially closed. The place had been serving burgers here in Los Angeles now for a good 5-6 decades. Gone through several owners, the most recent one being Sonia Hong, who ran it with her mother and her brother for the last 14, 15 years. And just great burgers, real simple stuff. Also great breakfasts, burritos, ham and eggs, hot dogs. I mean, I would even go there for tuna melt every once in a while. And it was really, really good stuff. But Sonia did lose the battle with the people that own the property, and she had to finally vacate the premises. We will miss you, Sonia Hong, and Irv's Burgers, of course. Speaking of burgers, really quick, I know a lot of you out there, I am one of them, occasionally like to hit, our fast food dollar menus, whether it's McDonald's or Burger King or Wendy's or, hell, even, Pollo Loco or, KFC or whatever, or Taco Bell, definitely. Well, apparently they're moving away from the dollar menu. Those dollar menus, those, super saver menus, they're going away. Was it just 2 weeks ago? McDonald's updated their dollar menu, which is now more going to be, which offers burgers, fries, other items for about less than $1 a piece. Now they're going to be offering stuff there for $1, $2, and some stuff that's allegedly shareable or family size for like $5. Apparently, the rising cost of food and paying employees is getting a little too expensive. And also, according to some industry experts, when you see stuff that's for $1 or $2, somewhere psychologically in your mind, it occurs to you that, well, maybe this isn't all that great a product. Maybe I shouldn't pay money for this. And as the gentleman in question here put it, it's not like you buy a Maserati for $1. I'm like, no. But if maybe somebody offered me one for, $10,000, I might consider it. They're usually about $500,000. But yes, the dollar menu, the discount menus are being being scaled back. So expect to pay more in your local McDonald's, Burger King's, Taco Bell's in the future there. I know, not exactly gripping news, but, I thought I'd start with that. Okay, would you rather? Now, this comes from a story that I read about a couple of days ago, and I finally got a few more details on it today. As you know, last week was Halloween, my favorite holiday, and I live here in West Hollywood, where a good 500,000 people descended onto my neighborhood, okay? To give you an idea what that means, it means that 6 lanes of traffic on Santa Monica Boulevard and very large sidewalks on the side and islands in the middle were taken over, and it was just a solid mass of people, okay, for 1 mile between La Cienega and Doheny, just a mass of people, all right? People in the wildest, craziest costumes out there. Like I said, check it out online. Just, type in, West Hollywood Carnival. You will see some wild shit. Well, one of the wildest shits that ever happened during this Halloween. Somebody died. Yeah. One Gilbert Estradas died. Apparently, he was 51 years old, and he was fatally burned to death at the Halloween Carnival in West Hollywood. Now, what happened was Gilbert decided to dress himself up as a sniper. And then, so he dressed himself up basically in burlap sacks and straw, and then decided to light a cigarette. Setting himself on fire in the middle of 500,000 drunk-ass idiots just down the street from me. What's really funny is that it didn't take long before there were already videos of the fucking incident on YouTube showing the man engulfed in flames in the middle of a crowd of people dancing to electronic music at the carnival, drinking and mocking him and cheering. And a lot of people thought that it was just a performance piece, and nobody was helping this guy who was screaming for help. Finally, a few people did realize what was going on. Some bystanders thought it was a prank or a stunt, but one man, 32, quickly recognized the man was in panic mode, and he and several others ripped Estrada's flaming sweatshirt and jacket off his body as other people continued to cheer and dance around him, like I said, thinking it was, some sort of event there. According to one witness, quote, so many people were drunk and partying. People were chanting, clapping, filming, and taking pictures like it was some kind of cool, funny thing, and not realizing it was a guy who was suffering in really bad condition. Like I said, made of burlap sacks and straw. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. Okay, and I'm looking at a picture of the guy, Gilbert Estrada. He looks like a really nice guy. And, I feel bad for him, his friends, his family. But take that aside. Just go to the other human factor of that, you're on fire, literally. You're doing your best impression of Richard Pryor, basically. And and most people around you, 500,000 people around you, and for quite the while, nobody is offering to help you because they think it's a gag. Okay, I admit, that sounds pretty bad. All right. Now, would you rather that happen to you? Obviously, nobody wants to die. But a friend of mine told me about another story. This was also on YouTube. I think he caught it on the internet. He told me about it today. Where a man was spotted by police acting, as they put it, suspiciously, and stopped to question him. Apparently, he was fidgeting with his posterior, also known as his butt. They concluded that he was hiding drugs in his ass. And they searched him. Obviously didn't find anything. But they took him in. They arrested him. And then they took him to the hospital where he was examined. He was probed. He received 2 enemas after after each one he was observed defecating by police and hospital personnel. And then when that failed to yield any results, they gave him a colonoscopy, a forced colonoscopy, where they shoved a camera up the man's ass, through his colon, looking for drugs. Of course, the funny part being they didn't find any drugs. The guy was just fidgety. He was just nervous. Now, that's pretty bad. I mean, at least he didn't die. But who do you tell that story to after that exactly? You know, I mean, does he have grounds for a lawsuit? I mean, I would like to think he would. I mean, he was a perfectly innocent guy who was allegedly acting suspiciously, who had forced medical procedures performed on him under the suspicion of being a drug mule. You know, I can just imagine him on the table. It's like, what the hell are you doing? You got drugs, motherfucker. You're hiding drugs. No, I'm not. Yeah, you are. We're going to look up your ass. What? Now, for those of you who have never had a medical, hospital-style enema, I have. And I don't want to do it again. But it's pretty impressive when you take a gallon or 2 of liquid up your ass, and people, and then they always say the same thing. They take out this fucking foot-long plastic tube attached to a hose, dripping with goo, and tell you to relax. They shove it up your ass. They say you're going to feel a little pinch, which is, I'm sure, exactly what all those guys in prison hear constantly. You're going to feel a little pinch. And then they forcibly just ram a gallon or 2 of liquid up your ass to clean it out and get you to evacuate whatever the hell is in there. And, but at least when I had to go to the bathroom, I got to go by myself. I didn't have police and hospital personnel watching me because I got to tell you, there's a lot of things I'm willing to do in front of others, but so far, that's not one of them. Okay, and moving on, let's go with one more. Would you rather? All right. Actually, no, we're not going to do that one because that's the one I'm doing. Really. Would you rather get forcibly examined, forcibly receive a hospitalized enema, and then forcibly receive a colonoscopy? Or would you rather be set on fire and die? I mean, I'm willing to bet most of you are going to go with, colonoscopy and forced examinations and enemas, but I don't know. I don't like people watching me when I blow my nose. I mean, much less take a dump. Now, before we go to break, let's do celebrity birthdays. And if your birthday is November 6th, you share one with the very beautiful actress Emma Stone. She's 25. NBA player Lamar Odom, 34 years old. Silver screen TV legend Sally Field. Ethan Hawke is now 43. Rebecca Romaine, formerly known as Rebecca Romaine Stamos, is 41 years old. Glenn Fry is 65. Zoe McClellan is 39. You might remember her from the TV show Jag and Dirty Sexy Money. Laurie Singer is 56. And if you're wondering who she is, she was the love interest of Kevin Bacon in Footloose. All right? She's 56. And I got to tell you, not aging as well as Kevin Bacon. Eric Seidel is 54 years old. For those of you in the poker world, that means something. He's one of the best poker players in the world, allegedly. And Maria Shriver, Mrs. Schwarzenegger for a while there, is 58. I really do miss her, Maria, when she was on TV. Back when she was playing the Crypt Keeper I miss her. Okay, we are going to take a break. Here's a little more Blemish with their song Losing It. I'm Joe the Shirt, and I'm off the cuff.
Lost the will to care. You don't like me telling you, but this I have to share. Conversations with God. I feel no one is listening. I'm losing it. Love to love it.
Joe the Shirt is back and off the cuff. Welcome back, everybody. We're doing Would You Rather. Got another Would You Rather for you guys right now. Now, would you rather be CeeLo Green or Mayor Rob Ford of Toronto? Now, before we get into, now let me give you a little backstory here before you answer. All right. Apparently, singer CeeLo Green pleaded not guilty last week to felony charge of furnishing ecstasy to a woman while dining at a downtown LA restaurant. Now, that's an interesting way of putting it. Furnishing ecstasy to a woman. The actual story is that while they were having dinner, CeeLo slipped the ecstasy into her drink. The woman then said that she woke up the next day in her hotel room naked, and CeeLo was there, not remembering anything that happened at all. Original charges, of course, being drugged and rape. Now, let's see. Although he avoided the more serious rape charge, Green could receive up to 4 years in prison if convicted of giving the 33-year-old woman ecstasy, a drug also known as Molly these days. I did a little story about that. Bond agent immediately appeared, posted $30,000 bail, released Green. According to, his lawyer, CeeLo has faith that if true facts were known, the district attorney would reject those charges. The woman reported to authorities that he put the drug in her drink as they dined together. The woman told investigators she woke up, found herself naked in bed with the singer in her hotel room. After 2 rounds of investigations by the LAPD's Robbery Homicide Division, prosecutors declined to file sex-related charges against Green, citing a lack of evidence. Now, I think this lack of evidence is the fact that it's CeeLo Green. I don't know. It's. I don't think CeeLo Green needs to drug anybody. I mean, serious. I mean, maybe me. Maybe, if CeeLo wants to get into my pants, okay, slip me about, 3 or 4 tabs of ecstasy, and then we'll see what the night takes with CeeLo. But the average 33-year-old woman, I don't think needs to be drugged by CeeLo Green. Or would you rather be CeeLo Green, or would you rather be Mayor Rob Ford? The Toronto Mayor Rob Ford apologized to the residents of Canada's largest city on Tuesday after admitting that he had lied for 6 months about smoking crack cocaine, declaring, "I love my job," and saying that he would stay on it for the sake of the taxpayers. Aww. A crack addict is going to stay on his job for the sake of the taxpayers. According to him, Ford cast his continued public service as necessary to save Toronto residents money and make up for what he called important decisions that must be made. Yeah, because anytime I want to make sure that my money's safe and secure, I put a crackhead in charge of it. Apparently, a video came up from a cell phone, which had been made showing Ford smoking a glass pipe said to contain crack. The other 3 men at the scene were later identified as members of a drug gang. According to Mayor Rob Ford, yes, quote here, yes, I have smoked crack cocaine. Have I tried it? Probably in one of my drunken stupors, probably approximately about a year ago. So not only are you a crackhead, but you are prone to drunken stupors. So you're drunk, you're a crack addict, but you want to keep your job to make sure, you save the taxpayers money. Okay, all right. Just another quote here. Mayor Rob Ford says, I know what I did was wrong, and admitting it was the most difficult and embarrassing thing I've ever had to do. It feels like 1,000 pounds has been lifted off of my shoulders. There is important work that we must advance and important decisions that must be made for the sake of the taxpayers of this great city. For the sake of the taxpayers, we must get back to work immediately. We must keep Toronto moving forward. And do you think we want a drunken crackhead to be making those decisions? So who would you rather be? CeeLo Green or Toronto Mayor Rob Ford? That's right. We want to keep the crack addicts in charge of our money. That's what we want to do. Oh, my God. But you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if he keeps his job. It wouldn't. Not in the slightest. You know why? Marion Barry on video, busted, smoking crack, as, just like Chris Rock said, got his job back. Oh, my God. New survey suggests that the world's oldest profession is getting a little dated. It's not as popular anymore. Apparently, a survey suggests that there's been a drop in prostitution in the United States. A national poll indicates that fewer men are paying for sex. Or they could just not be confessing to it as much as they used to. According to them, if not as many men pay for sex, it's because they don't have to. They can have sex for free. That's according to Christine Milrod, researcher and sex therapist. Wow. They say that fewer men say they have ever paid for sex or been paid for it. Apparently, this was a very interesting combination of a study, because it wasn't just about men involved in prostitution as the Johns, the guys that are paying for sex, but also they were including in this category men who were paid to have sex, which I suppose does skew it a little bit. According to this, in a string of surveys between 1991 and 1996, nearly 17% of men said they have paid for sex or received payment for sex. That fell to 13.2% between 2006 and 2012. Last year, that number hit the lowest point since the question was first asked, all the way down to 9.1%. Allegedly, only 9.1% of all men surveyed have ever paid for sex or gotten paid for sex. Now, I want to meet the guys who are getting paid for sex. I want to meet those guys, especially if they're getting paid for sex by women. Because male homosexual prostitutes, yeah, I can believe there's a ton of those out there. You kidding me? Consider where I live. I'm sure there are loads and loads of, gay prostitutes out there. Mind you, not that gays need, homosexual men, when I say gays, homosexual men do not need to go to prostitutes. All they need to do is find a club or a bar or a Denny's where, other gay men hang out. They can have sex right there and then. When it comes to homosexual men who are prostitutes, it's usually their typical customers tend to be straight married men. So, it's not like the gay community really needs prostitutes. They got each other and they're doing just fine. But married straight guys, whenever they want some cock and balls, they got to go out and pay for it. That's all I'm saying. Oh, my God. Now, this is a very sad little story that I came across not too long ago. Andy Lopez. I don't know if you've heard of him. California boy, 13 years old, was walking home on the outskirts of Santa Rosa when a sheriff's deputy shot and killed him. Now, that's incredibly tragic. I'm sad for him. I'm sad for his family. But according to the reports here, the afternoon of the killing of the bright, popular 13-year-old was spurred. Hold on. Was it? I'm skipping ahead. Sorry, my bad. On October 22nd, apparently. I'm skipping ahead again. I'm sorry. It's a big story, all right? My bad. But what actually happened here was Andy was on his way to his friend's house to return something he had borrowed from his friend. It was a BB gun, the size and shape of an AK-47. And it was a replica BB gun meant to look almost exactly like a real AK-47. Now, let's see. The 13-year-old Los Angeles... No, that's a different story again. See, I keep skipping around. According to this, Andy's gun belonged to a friend, and he was on his way to return it, his parents have said. He was wearing shorts and a navy blue sweatshirt. 2 Sonoma County sheriff's deputies spotted him from behind. The deputies put on the patrol car's red lights and chirped its siren. Deputy Eric Gelhaus, a 24-year-old veteran of the office, was in the passenger seat. He jumped out of the car and twice ordered the boy to drop the gun, according to witness. The boy began to turn around, still clutching the plastic gun, and Gelhaus fired 8 rounds. After the shooting, Gelhaus handcuffed Andy and began CPR. He did not immediately realize Andy was a boy and kept referring to him as the man. Now, this is an absolute tragedy. And the question I suppose I'm really posing here is who's really to blame here? Do we blame the cops? Because right now I do know that the parents of Andy are bringing a civil suit and I believe a criminal suit as well, but definitely a civil suit against the PD there, saying that police officers are not properly trained, that they are not properly informed, that more has to be done so that these type of tragedies do not happen. Now, we all know that we hear about these type of tragedies every fucking year, all right? Some kid, somewhere, some cop thought that he was holding a real gun, and he shoots this kid and kills him or paralyzes him, or, and it happens, and it's an absolute tragedy. But I am looking now at a picture of the Santa Rosa Police Lieutenant Lance Badger, which holds a real live AK-47 next to the replica weapon carried by Andy Lopez, who was killed by the deputy. Now, I'm looking at these pictures, and I will tell you right now, if I jump out of a car, if I'm a cop and I flash my lights at you and I chirp the siren at you and I come out of my car and I ask you to drop the weapon, I do it twice, identify myself as a police officer, and you turn around and you are still holding said AK-47 replica, I'm shooting you. I'm shooting you dead. You know what? Somebody might think, well, shooting him 8 times seems excessive. I'm like, not when you consider that an AK-47 can shoot 100 bullets in a minute. No, that 8 rounds ain't shit. Okay? 8 rounds would have been like 1 round that the other guy shoot. No, that's ridiculous. Like I said, I'm going to see if I can post these pictures for you guys, but I'm looking at the picture, and honestly, I find it very difficult to find fault with the police officer here, okay? Now, according to this, according to what they found, as the FBI and Santa Rosa police investigate the October 22nd killing, some community leaders are talking to lawmakers about finding ways to deter such shootings, which occur with disturbing frequency across the country when police mistake plastic guns for lethal weapons. Now, most parts of the country, if you have a toy gun, at the very bare minimum, it needs to have an orange tip on it so that it can be easily distinguished as a toy, or a BB gun. Now, bear in mind, a lot of these plastic tips are pretty easily removable. Another suggestion that has been made is that all toys of this type be colored very bright, garish colors like purple, green, pink, orange. And just the entire toy is colored this way so that when anybody sees it, they will know, okay, that's a toy. Amazingly enough, here in California, Governor Jerry Brown has opposed this type of move. He says that he doesn't like the government being involved in gun regulation of any kind, and does not think that this is necessary. It didn't make it past the House. Let's see. According to this, let's see. Let's see. According to this, now Gilhouse, the officer in question, had never before intentionally shot someone while on sheriff's duty. He once accidentally discharged the firearm, and he has never used force that led to a death. He and the other deputies at the scene believe that the gun was an AK-47, which can fire at least 100 rounds a minute. A federal wrongful death lawsuit filed Monday by Andy's parents said Gilhouse had twice pointed guns at people in the past without provocation and once shot himself in the leg, calling the boy's killing a senseless and unwarranted act of police abuse. They say that in the suit that Gilhouse failed to identify himself, even though witnesses say that he did, as a police officer before shooting and issued only one command to drop the gun. In my opinion, when the police officer asks you to drop the gun, you do it the first time before he shoots you. Gilhouse told investigators that Andy was raising the gun as he turned to face him. The deputies estimated the boy was at least 5'5" and 140 pounds. Andy's parents argue that he is 5'3". He was 5'3". Well, you know what? 5'3", 5'5", 2'8". You have an AK-47 pointed at me. I am again shooting your dumb ass. So I am having a hard time with this. The gun industry has opposed further regulations, and even some members of the law enforcement has criticized efforts to require BB guns to be neon colored. They argue that the plastic replicas could be misconstrued as harmless, even though BB guns and pellets can inflict serious injury. Yes, BB guns and pellets can inflict serious injury. They usually, though, don't blow out your entire sternum. I'm sorry, you know what? They have to be identifiable. There's way too many things happen. This happens at least once a year, you know. But the nice folks over at the NRA, the nice folks at the gun industry, and way too many folks in government itself, they keep arguing that any type of gun regulation is an infringement on their rights. And I'm like, then maybe you. Okay, let's say this. Let's not color any of the replicas neon green or orange or whatever. How about we don't give any toys at all that look just like the real thing to kids? How about that? How would that work? Does that work for anybody else but me? I mean, am I wrong on this one? In any case, I am about to take a break. And here's more Blemish in their song, 1 in a Million. Joe the shirt is once again off the cuff. Welcome back, everybody. So good to be back. Enjoying my voice being a little bit more back to normal. Not still at 100%. Like I said, I was sick, but getting there. Who is in the news these days? Bernard Goetz is in the news these days. For those of you who may not remember Bernard Goetz, those of you who are under 40, most likely, Bernard Goetz was the subway vigilante of New York in 1984. He was a gentleman who was riding the subway. He was walking through the tunnels to get to the subway, to get on a train, when he was accosted, allegedly, by several African-American youths who asked him if he happened to have $5 on him. Now, Bernie had been the victim of muggings in the subways before. Bernie was tall, lanky, white, glasses. He looks like a victim, basically. And Bernie turned around at them and told them, "Yeah, I have $5 for each of you," and then proceeded to open fire on the boys. This is a case that, of course, brought a lot of was referenced with a lot of similarities to the Trayvon Martin case. In both cases, of course, both white guys walked. Not that George Zimmerman's white; he's actually half Mexican. But that's neither here nor there. But what's going on for him? He's facing minor charges himself in New York for selling $30 worth of weed to an undercover police officer. I'm not overly worried for Bernie. It's a pretty minor charge. I don't think that Bernie is a drug lord of any sort, and he's also 65 years old. If he does any jail time at all, I'll be absolutely 100% shocked. A lot of violence in the news, isn't there? God, there's a lot of violence in the news. We all heard about what happened this past Monday over at LAX, nutcase that opened fire on TSA agents, which I don't really care about, honestly. I'm sick and tired, honestly, of mentioning these assholes. But what I find really interesting now is that the union that represents about 45,000 TSA agents is pushing to expand the agents' powers and abilities. Among them, the ability to arrest people, which they did not have before. TSA was originally designed as really glorified security guards, screeners, where they check you, they check your bag if necessary, they check what's in your shoes, and then if there's any trouble at all, then they call real security, then they call the real cops, and that's their job. Now they want to give them the ability to, the power to arrest you if there's a problem. An actual real arrest where you can actually go to real jail and face a real judge and face real time. But beyond that, they also want to give TSA agents the ability to carry a gun with them, to be armed. I have my issues here. Now, I don't know if you've seen, met, dealt with the average TSA agent recently, but you take a good look at them, good, hard, long look at them, and you'll notice something. Most of those guys look pretty much exactly like the same people that assemble and operate carnival rides at the state fairs in your neighborhood. You really want to arm those people? I know I don't. Now, for those of you who live in my home state of New York, I feel bad for you guys. Well, I feel bad for the cops there because they're challenging the stop and frisk laws over there, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Stop and frisk being, of course, where any cop anywhere in New York can just stop you on, suspicion and just, toss you, frisk you, and search for weapons, drugs, plastic explosives, whatever. That's being taken away from the cops. Now, what's being taken away from the rest of us, though? Now, smokers are in trouble yet again, this time in the state of New York, which is getting even worse than the state of California when it comes to smokers. According to this quick article here, smokers younger than 21 years old will soon be barred from buying cigarettes in New York City after the city council voted to raise the tobacco buying age. Currently, the buying age is 18 years old. They're going to push it up to 21, just like they did with alcohol. The action raises it the age of 21, purchasing age for cigarettes, other tobacco products, and even electronic vapor smokes. So even things that have no tobacco in them, produce no smoke, you have to be 21 years old to buy. The council also set a minimum pack price for cigarettes and stepped up laws on illegal sales. Mayor Michael R. Bloomberg, who is a strong supporter of the smoking restrictions, has 30 days to sign the bill into law. Now, you may be wondering to yourself, okay, it's really fucked up, raising the age from 18 to 21. I think it's fucked up, just like I think it's fucked up that you're 18 years old, you're considered a legal adult, you pay taxes, you're allowed to vote, you're allowed to join the military, you're allowed to join the NYPD if you like. You're allowed to go off and die and kill for your country, but you're not, and you are considered mentally and emotionally capable of voting for your local and federal leaders. But we don't think you're capable of making a good decision when it comes to alcohol. And now we don't think you're capable of making a good decision when it comes to cigarettes, smoking, cigars, pipes, or even vapor, Okay, I find that personally incredibly offensive. I think that I really believe that not enough 18-year-olds out there realize how badly their rights are being violated. Now you're thinking, well, hell, it's not that big a deal. Kids will find a way to find cigarettes if they want to, no matter what. But what happens when the impetus to curb underage smoking affects the rest of you who are legal-aged adults that can smoke cigarettes as much as you want? And you're wondering, well, how does that do that? Well, they're setting a minimum price a pack on cigarettes in New York. Now, what does the average pack of cigarettes cost these days? What about $5, $6? I know my girlfriend smokes a more expensive brand. She pays about $8, $9 a pack for those, I know that some of my buddies smoke some really cheap crap, costs like $3, for a pack of cigarettes. My buddy Craig, I think he smokes Marlboros. That's about $5.50, $6 a pack. In New York, they are planning to raise the minimum price of cigarettes to $10.50 a pack. Okay? So for a carton of cigarettes, it would cost you well over $100 for 10 packs of cigarettes, a carton of them, after you throw in all the state, federal taxes, and just all on its own, it's already $100. Now throw on the taxes, you're real fucked. So this raises up interesting questions for me because, of course, what's going to happen is that the local mobs in any neighborhood where cigarette prices have gone this high are going to find ways to get cigarettes to the paying customers for less than the $10.50 a pack, which means there's going to be a lot more hijackings, a lot more robberies, and it also means that the users themselves, the people that smoke, are going to start committing crime. Because as everybody always says, smoking is just as addictive as heroin. And the average heroin addict is not exactly somebody you want to reason with. So what's this going to lead to? It's going to lead to, people, robbing their moms and dads' purses and wallets. It's going to lead to people mugging, breaking and enterings. It's going to lead to, people, kids breaking into each other's lockers at school. It's going to lead to, hey, you have an addiction, you're going to feed that addiction one way or the other. And it's going to lead to them going to the people who are supplying black market cigarettes to them. It's going to happen. And of course, then the real question is, who does that benefit? Does that really hinder the tobacco companies themselves? If the minimum price is $10.50 for a pack of cigarettes, a high-end brand is already $8 or $9. If I can pay $10.50 for a higher brand or $10.50 for the shit that used to be $3, then what's to stop me from buying better stuff? So the big tobacco companies actually have good chance of winning because nobody's giving up smoking cigarettes anytime soon. You know, we live in a country where everybody keeps saying that, oh, people aren't smoking as much as they used to. And I'm like, where the fuck are you going where people are not smoking as much as they used to? And besides, none of your fucking business if they want to smoke. You're an 18-year-old adult. That's the definition of adult in this country, other than, you know, alcohol. And now in New York, cigarettes. Oh, okay, I got to go. I'm losing my voice again. I can't continue this shit. But thank you for listening. It's been fun. I'm Joe the Shirt. I'm off the cuff. And here's a little more blemish for you with their song, Paradise. Take care.